It's that time again. New comic book days around the corner, so let's take a look at what's coming out so I can tell you what's on the pull list. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is The Pull List. It's my weekly video series where I take a look at the books slated to come out this new comic book day. This time we're looking at Wednesday, April 3rd, 2024. Yes, the first new comic book day in April. And this year is flying by. We're already done with the first quarter. That's crazy. Anyway, second 3 months of the year, we'll see what kind of excitement it holds as we head up to free comic book day next month. And then the summer events will start in June. It's going to be some really, really fun times in comics, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now, I usually like to start these lists off with the book I am most excited for in a given week, but this time I'm going to switch things up just a tad because this Wednesday, April 3rd is Ghost Machine Day, the first Ghost Machine Day of the year. And if you're not familiar, Ghost Machine is a brand new, we can call it imprint, we can call it a company, but they're partnered up with Image, featuring some of like your favorite creators, like a who's who of comic book creators, Geoff Johns, Jason Fabok, Brian Hitch, like just all sorts of names. And the first wave of Ghost Machine titles comes out this Wednesday, April 3rd. They've got 3 brand new titles coming out. What's really cool about this, or Ghost Machine in general, is the first time a creator-owned company has actually had a fully shared superhero universe. And so, yes, we've had Image in the past who have done crossovers and things like that. But technically, all the Image crossovers take place in their own little pocket universes. And it's like whatever the writer decides is canon at any given moment is what's canon. But in this Ghost Machine world, this whole universe is interconnected, is shared, and all of the creators share in all of the profits for all of the books, which is different than like the sort of separate studio setup that Image had 30 years ago. Anyway, enough of the history lesson. I'm really excited about Ghost Machine Day. Although I have to be honest with you, the titles that I'm most excited about coming from Ghost Machine aren't dropping today or this week. They're dropping later on in the year. I'm super excited about the sort of Family Odysseys universe that's going to be, or a Family Odysseys line that we're going to get from Peter Tomasi and Francis Manapul later on. But all that to say, I'm still pretty curious about this week's release of Ghost Machine titles. So let's talk about the 3 books that are coming out this week from Ghost Machine. First up is Geiger, issue number 1. Geoff Johns and Gary Frank. You've probably seen Geiger before. It did release through Image about 1.5 years ago, I want to say. And so they had a Geiger miniseries, and then that led to like the Junkyard Joe miniseries. And now they're basically rebooting Geiger with a brand new number 1. As far as I understand, all that other stuff is still canon, but this is a brand new, fresh jumping on point. And that Ghost Machine sampler they did a couple of months ago honestly got me pretty intrigued. Geiger is like their sort of anti-hero, if you will, who was affected by an accident regarding like nuclear radiation and stuff like that. And so he's this like radiated body trying to find his way back to a human form. And he's trying to find who can help him. He's like going on like the search across the country, kicking butt, taking names with his 2-headed wolf by his side. Very interesting, if not a bit grim or darker than I would typically read. It almost reminds me of something like a Spawn. But pretty cool stuff. So that's Geiger. Next up is probably the book I'm most excited about out of this slate, and that is Redcoat, also by Geoff Johns with art by Brian Hitch. Redcoat is this dude who somehow like is like eternal and ended up with like, you know, sticking around all the way from like 1976. And he's kind of like Forrest Gumped his way across the universe, like meeting up with all sorts of notable figures from the founding fathers of America to Albert Einstein and everything in between. And so as we see his adventures, we're going to start to learn just how he has helped to shape American history. So historical fiction, action, adventure, swashbuckling. This is the type of book that just seems really exciting to me and different from a lot of stuff we've already got out in the comic book slate. And last book coming out this week is Rook, Exodus, issue number 1. also written by Geoff Johns, this time with art by Jason Fabok. And Rook Exodus is like this sci-fi tale where basically all the humans found a way to like inhabit this one planet long ago, but it's a sort of oligarchical society where like the rich people really control everything. Is oligarchical? Is that the word? I'm pretty sure that's the word. But anyway, point is they run society with these helmets that allow them to sort of control animals. And anyway, this dude Rook has decided like he wants off of this planet. He wants to find a way out of this society. And of course, he's going to have to battle all the forces of like all the money in the world in order to get his way and escape. Again, more sci-fi type stuff and typically stuff that's not in my wheelhouse, but it's got art by Jason Fabok. So honestly, all three of these series have things that I'm curious about. I'm a little bit concerned that some of it'll be a little bit more style than substance, but all should be pretty good reads. And if you were on the fence about any of them, how about a variant cover scheme to really get you to buy into all three? We got connecting covers by Ivan Reyes for Geiger, Redcoat, and for Rook Exodus that connect to each other and depict the entire Ghost Machine universe, not even just the three titles mentioned. So if for nothing else, I'm probably going to grab all these books just for those covers. They each have a cover price of $3.99. Get in where you fit in. Don't feel the need to get all of them. I should tell you, Geiger and Redcoat do take place as part of the unnamed universe. And so while the whole universe is shared, those two titles are going to tie in together in ways that maybe other titles won't. So another reason to grab both of those if you were only looking at one or the other. Anyway, Ghost Machine Day. Those are going to cost you $12 and probably going to be some of the more fun comics you read this week. Now, let's talk about the regular books on the pull list. Because like I said, I'm not convinced about all three Ghost Machine titles. I'm definitely excited for Redcoat. But if I grab them all, I'm going to grab them because of that connecting variant. But the book I'm most excited for from a regular pull list standpoint this week is The One Hand, issue number 3. Ram V and Lawrence Campbell doing this series, this detective noir cyberpunk future setting story about this dude, a detective Ari Nasser, I believe is his name. Basically, he put away this serial killer ages ago. And it turns out there is a copycat around, but this copycat has details that were never released to the public. So it leads us all to believe it's not a copycat at all. Did he lock up the wrong guy? So instead of retiring like he wanted to, he's going to go out on this one last case, try to figure out who in the world the one-hand murderer is. Now, this series ties heavily into another series called The Six Fingers. The Six Fingers issue number 2 came out last week. And where I felt like the One Hand issue 2 kind of lost a step for me, slowed things down a bit, The Six Fingers got me right back in just with the way it's been interconnected. Six Fingers is written by Dan Waters with art by Sumit Kumar. I probably like The Six Fingers a little bit more, but they both tie in so integrally to each other. Probably don't want to read one without the other. Anyway, the ending of The Six Fingers number 2 made me more excited for The One Hand number 3. And lucky for me, I didn't have long to wait because it's out this week with a cover price of $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And since we're still talking about indies this week, let's keep it going with Disney Villains Cruella, issue number 3, written by Sweeney Boo with art by Mirjana Puglia, I believe is how you say her name. Disney Villains Cruella. I like that unlike a lot of the Disney Villains series we've been getting, this one takes place after the big movie it references in 101 Dalmatians. So Cruella's standing in society has just been tarnished, and she's been trying to climb her way back up the social ladder. And the Dog Kingdom just won't let that happen. Now, one thing we have not seen in this series so far is any appearance from the 101 Dalmatians or even the family, Roger and Anita. I'm curious to see if they're going to make an appearance in this book. It's not a deal breaker that they're not, because I've really been enjoying just the antics of Cruella and the other dogs in this, fictional town. But I'd like to see, at least one of 101 Dalmatians, right? Anyway, loving this series so far. Cover price on this one is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And last book on the Indie Comics pull list this week is The Walking Dead Deluxe, issue 86. You know why I'm buying The Walking Dead Deluxe. I'm a completist, and I don't know, are we about halfway done with The Walking Dead? I can't remember how long the original series ran. I want to say 198 issues, in which case we're not halfway done. We're like a third of the way done. Hey, I'm in it for the long haul, I guess. Cover price on that is $3.99. I'm grabbing cover A. And that's it for the indie comics on the pull list. Now, my regular pull list is going to cost me $12 for the indies, but let's not kid ourselves. I'm probably buying all 3 Ghost Machine titles this week, even though I'm most interested in Redcoat. And we'll just see how things go. I'm likely going to drop Geiger, and I'll probably drop Rook Exodus after 1 issue, but those connecting covers. So with all that, my indie titles will cost me $24 this week. Now, let's move over to the House of Ideas, where there's only 1 book on the pull list, and that is X-Men issue number 33. Now, we know that X-Men is ending with issue 35 later this year, or like 2 months from now. And we are officially moving into like the Gail Simone era of Uncanny X-Men, along with the Jed MacKay era of adjectiveless X-Men. So we'll see how things go. I can't lie. The whole Fall of X saga has lost steam with me. I know Rise of the Powers of 10 has been pretty good. Fall of the House of X has been like, I'm probably just going to read all this stuff like after it's all done. And I'm not going to buy collected editions because I have all the single issues, but I'm probably going to just binge read the Fall of X saga from the last Hellfire Gala all the way through, just so I can recall how things have ended. Anyway, X-Men 33, Jerry Duggan's X-Men, has been a really good book. Cover price on this is $3.99. Grabbing cover A, and that's the only Marvel book on my pull list this week. So our Marvel total is $4. Now, let's move over to the Distinguished Competition, where there's only 1 book on the pull list this week there as well, which is why I don't mind buying all those Ghost Machine books. But next up on the pull list is Batman, issue 146. Batman, written by Chip Zdarsky, art by Jorge Jimenez this time around. Listen, I want Jorge to always draw Batman. It's such a different book when he's not drawing it. But we're in the middle of this dark prisons storyline. Basically, Zur-En-Ar's got Joker and Batman in prison, and they're like giving each other information and all these things. It's been interesting so far. Somehow I don't remember like what exactly happened in 145. So I'm going to read that again before I read 146. All in all, though, I've really been enjoying the Zur-En-Ar storyline and this new Batman. That's what happened. Zur-En-Ar basically put himself in the failsafe robot, and while Batman is out there in prison, the failsafe robot is sitting there like impersonating him and acting on his behalf in the streets of Gotham. Really, really cool stuff. I've been enjoying Chip Zdarsky's Batman, but that's nothing new. Cover price on this is $4.99, and I'm grabbing cover A, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, but back during the pandemic, Jim Lee was doing like these daily sketches. I want to say he did either 30 or 60 sketches, and he auctioned them all off on eBay to donate to like comic shops in need because all the comic shops were shut down. Some of the sketches were better than others. There were some that I really, really loved. None that I could afford to bid on. Like, let's just be real. But really, really enjoyed it. And I always thought they were going to do like an art book of some sort. And I think he did do an art book for his Discord server. But I couldn't afford it back then either. All that to say, those sketches that were originally just black and white sketches that he did on his Twitch stream are now available as variant covers. They've been doing this Jim Lee Artist Spotlight variant program for pretty much every DC book for the last 2 or 3 weeks. This week, there is a Jim Lee Batman on a horse. I want to say it's Gotham by Gaslight Batman. So that's one of the variant covers for Batman 146 this week. And I don't need it. I'm not going to buy it, but it's there and it looks really cool. But anyway, if you get that one, it'll be an extra $1. But my DC books are only going to cost me $5 this week because I'm only grabbing 1. I should note that there is a book that hit the chopping block this week. I decided I'm no longer continuing with Shazam. Mark Waid's off the title. Dan Mora's been off the title. So, not to slight the new creative team or shade them in any way. I don't really know anything about the new creative team, but I enjoyed Shazam under Mark Waid. And this feels like a nice jumping off point. And I need to start to save some room in the pull list for books that I'm actually reading. So Shazam hit the chopping block this week. But if you're looking to jump into Shazam, probably a good jumping in point as well, since it's a brand new creative team, new status quo, all those things. DC books are going to cost me $5 this week. And that's actually the end of the pull list. So let's say I didn't buy any Ghost Machine titles. If I didn't, my grand total this week would just be $21, which is pretty cool. That gives me some money to buy a trade paperback, like the ridiculously overpriced Ultimate Universe trade paperback that came out last week, or Gargoyles. Gargoyles, Volume 1 here in Manhattan came out last week from Dynamite, and they've got the paperback version, which you can buy for I want to say $19.99, or you could buy the hardcover version for $10 more. And why buy a paperback when a hardcover is available? So I could use the extra money in my budget to buy that, or I can use it to buy one of these books that are on the radar, starting with Deadpool, issue number 1. Can't lie. The only reason Deadpool issue number 1 is on the radar is because Cody Ziglar is writing it. And I've really, really enjoyed Cody Ziglar on Miles. In fact, I don't think there's a book I've read by Cody Ziglar that I didn't like, but Deadpool's just not a character I typically vibe with all that much. I can take him in doses. I don't think I need Deadpool in his own book anytime soon. But Deadpool number 1, cover price $4.99 since it's a debut. Another book that maybe should be on your radar is Godzilla versus the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Volume 2, Issue 1. I kind of forgot there was a Godzilla Power Rangers series a couple years ago, or a year or so ago. I remember Nick Draper Ivey did a variant cover for number 4 or something like that. But other than that, I'm not a huge Godzilla fan, although I did just watch the Godzilla Kong Rise of Monster, whatever it was called, that just came out this past weekend. Pretty good book, pretty good movie, entertaining popcorn flick. We took our daughter. It was cool. So there's that. I'm just not a big fan of the Monsterverse, but I am a big fan of Power Rangers. So if you wanted to see the Power Rangers fighting Godzilla again, check it out. I love that cover by Freddie Williams III, by the way. $3.99 on that one. Now, another book to be on the lookout for, in case you have a bad idea destination store around you, The Hero Trade is getting a 4th anniversary special. Yes, 4 years ago, this book got shipped to shops out of nowhere, under the guise of it being some indie book from a super local team. And only a few shops actually paid attention to see that the book was written by Matt Kent. And that book is called The Hero Trade. Now you can see those books going on eBay for ridiculous prices, especially if you get a slabbed version of it. And they've done different sequels and different peeks into that whole Hero Trade universe since that initial release. And that was the book that kind of announced that Bad Idea was coming. It was their first sort of Bad Idea shenanigan, if you will. And why shenan once when you can shenan again and again and again? And this is another one of those shenanigans. This book is, like I said, it's an anniversary version. Basically, it's reprinting The Hero Trade number 1, which was that standalone book, but also The Hero Trade number 2, which, if I'm not mistaken, came out in a series of backup stories in other Bad Idea books. Now you can get it all in one book. And the cover price online is actually listed as free. I don't know if there's some weird rules as to how you can get it, but if your shop is a Bad Idea destination shop, then you probably want to ask them about it before it comes out Wednesday, because I have a feeling once the release date actually comes, that book is going to come and go. But Hero Trade, 4th anniversary special, cover price is listed as free, and it's reprinting the entire Hero Trade saga in one floppy book. Sounds interesting to me. So there you go. Next up is Spider-Man Shadow of the Green Goblin, issue number 1. This is written by J.M. DeMatteis, or DeMatteis. I've heard it both ways. With art by Michael Sta Maria. Is Sta like an abbreviation? Is it like Santa Maria? I don't know. Either way, Michael is doing the art. I'm not familiar with this artist. I've not read a lot of J.M. DeMatteis Spider-Man stuff. I know he did a bunch of Spider-Man in the 90s. That was before I was reading comics, and I haven't read much of his, like, different revisitations of that world. I know they've been giving DeMatteis like a bunch of different miniseries. He recently did a Ben Reilly miniseries, if I'm not mistaken. This sort of prequel series, adding to the lore of Spider-Man, posits that Norman Osborn wasn't the first Green Goblin. There's actually another Green Goblin who is integral in the history of Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And so how does this new old Green Goblin change the way we look at different Spider-Man history? Can't even lie. That sounds intriguing, but there are just so many Spider-Man books already on the pull list. I don't need one that's like set 40 years ago, but I really love the retro vibe on this cover. And knowing me, on a light week, I'm probably going to end up buying it anyway. Cover price on it is $4.99. That's cover A. And those were all the books on the radar this week. A lot of things to choose from. I feel like it's slim pickings from the big two this week. But again, really cool, fresh blood coming in with Ghost Machine. I'm excited to see just what of all those books I really end up being interested in. Like I said, when I read the Ghost Machine preview a couple months ago, I was really struck by the Rocket Fellers and Hornsby and Halo. Those aren't coming out this week. But I do like Redcoat. And if I'm going to read Redcoat, I might as well read Geiger. If I'm going to buy both of those, then I might as well get the connecting variant and grab Rook Exodus from Jason Fabok as well. So, hey, it's Geoff Johns Day over at the Comics Are Dope library. Anyway, let me know what you're reading in the comments down below. I'll see you guys in another video real soon. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.